Dado Moroni e Danny Grissett sono due tra i più grandi pianisti di jazz in circolazione e hanno scelto per il loro duo il nome di Yardbird Suite for Pianos. Sarà una sorta di celebrazione in jazz per il centenario della nascita di Charlie Parker e cerchiamo di capire qualcosa di più di questo progetto, come si dice in questi casi, dalla viva voce dei protagonisti. Welcome to Padova, Danny Grissett.
Thank you very
Benvenuto.
Grazie.
Dado Moroni.
Grazie a te.
I will ask you a few questions in English, but you are both free to answer. And the first one is, of course, about Yardbird Suite for Pianos. How did the idea of this piano duo come about?
Well, I mean, I guess it was born largely from another project that we were involved in together called Monk by Four, I think it was. And we had four pianists on two pianos playing the music of Thelonious Monk, celebrating his 100th year birth. And yeah, naturally, I mean, Charlie Parker is definitely someone from the same period associated with Monk, so the idea kind of came.
Yeah, and also the century of.
Yes, and also the century, exactly, which was a couple years ago. As we talked about canceling a year.
Yeah, in fact, this concert was supposed to be last year. Yes. Dado, ti ho visto suonare credo una decina di volte in situazioni e contesti spesso molto diversi tra loro. Una volta, ne parlavamo poco fa, anche proprio in una situazione come questa con Kenny Barron in Umbria Terni.
Sì.
So che spesso hai fatto concerti di questo tipo anche con 2 o 3 pianisti, perché è un contesto che viene particolarmente... No, non 3?
10.
Ah sì? Addirittura?
Allora, con 2, con lui, con Kenny e con Andrea Pozza, anche con Enrico Pieranunzi, secondo me. Poi ne abbiamo fatti con 3 a Vicenza, con Morgan Miller e Kenny Barron, poi 4, sempre con lui.
Ho una foto di quel concerto appesa in casa mia,
anch'io.
Al Teatro Olimpico.
E poi in Giappone abbiamo fatto la cosa con 10 pianisti, chiamata 100 Gold Fingers, e abbiamo fatto il tour del Giappone sempre con 2 pianoforti, scambiandoci i ruoli, giocando un po', una reazione a catena, no? Poi, mi diverto.
Ti diverto?
Sì. Mi diverto perché più note ci sono. Io non sono molto parsimonioso con le note, mi piacciono.
Un generoso.
Mi piacciono le note.
Danny, I saw you play only once, 2 years ago, in Vicenza, my hometown, with Diego Frabetti Quintet. And even though I knew you, I was very impressed by the elegance of the way you play piano. And I was surprised of your presence in an all-Italian quintet. And for this reason, I checked out on the internet and found out that you live in Europe. So I was thinking that you are an American who lived in Europe, and Dado is an Italian who used to live in the United States. So I was thinking how you first met, because you're a long-time friend.
Yeah, well, I mean, we met when the situation was turned around. I was still living in the States, but coming to Europe often. And I believe we were just talking about it. I think I was here with Tom Harrell in where was it?
It was, I guess, Avigliana.
Avigliana.
It's a little festival, very nice, near Torino.
Ah, okay.
And he was playing with his trio. I was playing with Tom, and we met. And I think that might have been the same one where there was a jam session afterwards, and I saw he was playing bass and drums. Remember that?
Yes, exactly.
And so anyway, we've been knowing each other since then. And but we didn't. I mean, piano players rarely get a chance to play together. We first got a chance to play, I think, on the 4x4.
But I actually heard you. I knew your music because I heard you on a CD by an Italian saxophone player. And he gave me
Felice
Clemente, exactly.
Yeah.
So that's I like that piano player. And then it was him.
Okay, that's good. That's interesting to hear. Tom Harrell was the trumpet of the lineup of the last album of Bill Evans 40 years ago. You both played with Tom, especially Danny, who was with him for many years. How important has been for you to spend as a musician, as a young musician, those years with Tom?
I mean, very important. I mean, Tom, first of all, playing his music, made me grow in ways that I can't even, quantify. But also just to be around such a great musician and see his dedication and see his devotion really to just getting the best sound he can, living in the moment in the music and reacting and just giving. And that was truly inspiring. And I think it also has affected me as a composer. He's such a great composer, and just seeing how his tunes are constructed and whatnot. It's an invaluable experience that I can't tell you how much I appreciate.
Thank you. Tornando a Bill Evans che abbiamo nominato poco fa, Dado, come ti dicevo prima, qualche anno fa, 2016, ti vidi con Eddie Gomez e Joel Barbera in questo meraviglioso concerto estivo, in quella caldata serata padovana. Ebbene, ricordo che da lì uscì anche un bellissimo album dal vivo che si chiama Kind of Bill, che uscì
sì,
un anno più tardi.
Sì.
No? C'è la possibilità che registriate un album tipo quello che hai fatto poi nel 2006 con Pier Nunzi? Voi avete in animo, avete mai parlato della possibilità di fare una cosa del genere?
Tutte le porte sono aperte, a me piacerebbe tantissimo perché lui è uno dei miei pianisti preferiti, dico, tra diciamo dalla generazione più giovane. Trovo che sia il musicista più interessante, più elegante, più intelligente e sicuramente è un challenge. Mi imparo tantissimo suonando con lui perché mi porta a esplorare degli angoli che magari a cui normalmente non penso, come con tutti gli altri, però lui è molto più giovane di me, fortunatamente per lui.
12 anni mi pare abbiate detto.
Ma in musica
sono tanti,
certo. Quindi è sempre molto, diciamo, è una grossa ispirazione sempre suonare con Danny e quindi se capiterà l'occasione sarò felice di farlo.
Okay. Danny, let's go back to tonight's concert. You pay tribute to the genius of Charlie Parker, and these are themes composed or made famous by Charlie Parker. I know that about your long friendship that we were talking about. You have a musical vision in many ways similar, but how would you describe the difference and which quality of the other you find the most stimulating for playing?
Well, I mean, DADO is someone that is, you talk about the idea of like do your homework, I mean, DADO is well studied. DADO is well studied. And we were just talking about this the other day, I was talking about it in the context of bass players. We're playing with some great bass players that challenge me harmonically in ways that sometimes just in the moment on the bandstand where they play something, I go like, okay, I don't know what that is, but it sounds great, it makes sense to my musical ear, but my intellectual side hasn't figured it out yet. I get that a lot with DADO, DADO sometimes he goes for some things and I was like, okay, I'm gonna have to ask him about that later. And it's very, very inspiring.
Thank you. Since we haven't said it yet, Yardbird was the nickname of perhaps the greatest saxophone player in the history of jazz, Charlie Parker. And Yardbird Suite is the title of a composition by Charlie Parker, one of those that sooner or later every jazz musician have to deal with. Okay? Would you try to explain with the simple words, even to those which are not familiar with jazz, how an improviser starts when you're playing those type of standard songs?
Well, I mean, one thing that the music has in common is that there is an underlying harmonic structure, and that with few changes here and there that we improvise, but it stays the same, and usually the amount of bars you get from the beginning to the end are the same. So we can, because of those things, we can know where we are all the time. And then, trying to keep it simple. Then there are, certain notes that fit, over those places, and we can choose them in any order and any rhythms and this sort of thing, you know, and that's, you know, on a very, like, you know, basic level for someone who maybe doesn't understand.
Thank you. Quindi anche se non sembra, avete sempre un punto di riferimento al quale rifarvi per ritrovarvi e sapete dove state andando.
È come la commedia dell'arte,
sì.
Nel senso c'è un canovaccio, c'è una storia, sì. Senza entrare nei particolari. La persona va dal panettiere, incontra la donna della sua vita, però in quel momento quindi lei sta con un altro, allora c'è tutta la storia. Quello che succede poi è che alla fine questi due qua si sposano, in mezzo ci sono determinati, appunto, l'incontro in panetteria, il fatto che questa persona poi deve tornare a casa da suo marito, quello che succede tra marito e moglie, e quello si inventa nel momento. Quindi noi abbiamo dei punti fermi che sono per andare da A a C a Z, abbiamo vari punti che dobbiamo per forza toccare. Quello che succede in mezzo, seguiamo la cosa.
Bellissimo, molto efficace come spiegazione. I have another question. Danny, in the year 2018, you were the pianist on Pee Wee Ellis' latest album, saxophonist. I have always listened to since I was a kid, and he played with James Brown. He wrote the famous song "Say It Loud, I'm Black and I'm Proud." Pee Wee Ellis was the architect of James Brown funky sound of the late 60s with Maceo Parker. And I wanted to tell you about it, that I've listened to it and heard this wonderful version you played with him, only piano and sax, in a sentimental mood.
Yeah.
Starts with 3 minutes of piano. Wonderful. And hearing it, I thought it was extraordinary that apparently distant world suddenly seemed so close. Okay.
Yeah.
So I would like to hear from you about it.
Yeah, I mean, you talked about an intriguing pairing, you know. First of all, you know, I didn't come to jazz first. I mean, it wasn't really part of my background, the soundscape as a kid. You know, my house was more gospel music, funk music. My brother loved James Brown, excuse me, and gospel music. So, I mean, that, while our worlds for our documented playing are very far apart, there's definitely a common thread, at least from our musical references. And then, you know, take those two things that we're playing Duke Ellington. I mean, it was a very interesting project. I was happy to be documented with him, first of all. And we unfortunately lost him, you know, a few weeks ago, maybe it was a month ago.
A couple of months ago, yes.
Yeah. I did a concert a few days ago where we played one of his tunes just in tribute. The concert was about other things, but we had to, you know, throw one in there. We threw his tune called the Chicken.
The Chicken.
And that was fun. But yeah, Pee Wee was great, so gracious, so full of ideas in ways to just make the music more simple and just direct, you know. And it was a really, really gentle spirit, and I'm lucky to have spent that time with him.
Thank you. A conclusione di questo ragionamento mi è venuta in mente la famosa frase di Duke Ellington che diceva che alla fine ci sono solamente 2 tipi di musica, no? Quella bella e quella brutta.
Sì.
Questo ragionamento e questo esempio sulla musica di James Brown mi aveva portato a questa in mente questa frase.
Non c'è nessuna, quella bella, quella brutta.
Tu spesso suoni negli album di musicisti pop, quindi
poi faccio quello che mi provoca dall'inizio. Ormai una volta ero molto più selettivo. Perché poi anche quando sei più giovane sei anche più testone, eccetera eccetera. Invece adesso cerco quello che mi dà delle emozioni, no? Quindi se c'è una canzone, un pezzo, un musicista che suona, io impazzisco sempre per Susan Vega. che non c'entra niente.
Sì,
con-
niente.
Però mi piace lei, mi piace il suo personaggio, mi piace lo spirito che da Springsteen a... non tutto ovviamente, ma non mi piace neanche tutto di Charlie Parker, no?
Certo,
Non è che-
sì.
cioè mi piacciono le cose che mi comunicano delle emozioni
Si muovono.
e quindi cerco poi di cimentarmi con questo, perché penso che fino a quando morirò io devo cercare di vedere insomma, dove sarà il mio limite, il mio prossimo, devo vedere sempre il gradino che c'è, poi ci arriverà un punto, io ci ho provato.
Sei che riuscito, direi. Vi ringrazio. Thank you very much for your time. We can't wait to see the concert tonight. Good luck and thanks
Grazie.
again.
Thank you.
Grazie.
Thank you.